The deep space diplomacy vessel ISS Horizon moved like a silver line through dark space. Its lights shone softly along the long hull. Its engines hummed with a steady comfort that every person on board soon learned to trust. Inside, glass corridors curved past gardens and water walls, past calm lounges and quiet study rooms where delegates could rest between meetings. The Horizon was built for welcome. It was built for listening. It was built for first steps. Captain Elias Ward liked to walk the ship early, before most people woke up. He moved with an easy pace, hands behind his back, taking in each small detail that told him all was well. A panel light steady green, a door seal snug, a soft breeze through the hydroponic ferns. He liked the way the ship sounded at dawn, cycle like rain far away. It helped clear his mind before the day brought noise. He was not a loud person. He spoke gently and clearly, and he listened more than he talked. People trusted him for that reason. He carried his rank quietly and wore his uniform like a promise, to be steady, to be calm, to be fair. The crew respected him, and the visitors found him easy to approach. This morning, though, as the lighting slowly brightened to mimic sunrise, he felt a restless spark in his chest. The first joint session was scheduled for 900 hours. Many species would attend. Among them was a telepathic envoy from Vela Prime. He had read the brief 3 times the night before. The Valens were peaceful and careful with their gifts. They spoke with their minds, sending thoughts and feelings like music. Their culture valued harmony, balance, and honest sharing. They did not enjoy chaos. They did not enjoy sudden change. They did not enjoy surprises. Elias made a mental note to reduce surprises. He arrived at the observation deck where a wide glass arc looked out on a silk field of stars. A small group of early risers stood near the rail. Some took pictures. Some just breathed and watched. And then, at the far end of the deck, he saw her standing still, facing the bright line of a nebula, like a person looking out across a calm sea. Her name he knew from the brief was Alira. She looked like light made patient. A soft halo shimmered around her form, as if she was wrapped in gentle dusk. Her features were delicate, but not fragile. There was a confidence in the tilt of her chin, in the way she held her hands. She wore a robe that looked woven from mist, with faint lines like starlight threading through it. When she breathed, tiny motes of color floated near her shoulders like dust in sun. Elias paused, not wishing to disturb her, but she turned, sensing his presence. Her eyes were calm, and there were tiny points of silver near her temples, like dew. For a moment, neither spoke. Space was quiet around them, and the ship hummed softly. "Envoy, Alira," Elias said at last, with a respectful nod. "Good morning. I hope your quarters were comfortable." She did not move her lips. Yet somehow he heard her answer inside his own mind, gentle and clear, like a thought that knew where to go. "Yes, Captain Elias Ward. Your ship is careful. It is a kind design." Her voice in his mind did not hurt or push. It arrived like warmth in winter, like a cup of tea cupped in both hands. He had been trained for telepathic contact, breathing steady, thoughts calm, attention focused. He kept his focus now, a steady line, like the horizon of a quiet sea. "I'm glad," he said. "If there is anything you need, food, temperature, soft or light, please tell me. We can adjust most things." Her eyes softened at that. "You think in shapes and colors. Your care feels blue and clean, like water you can trust." Elias smiled. "I'll take that as a compliment." She tilted her head as if listening to something very far away. For a moment, the light at her shoulders flickered, then steadied. He noticed but did not stare, turned his gaze back to the nebula. The stars looked like slow sparks in black velvet. "The first session will begin in 2 hours," he said. "There will be brief introductions and a ceremony of intent. We hope for simple goals this week: shared food, safe questions, honest answers." Alira's voice brushed his mind again. "Simple is wise. Your ship holds many minds today. Some are excited. Some are careful. Some are sharp, a pause, like the hush before a soft note. Yours is strong, Captain, but you fold it in so it does not spill. It is considerate." felt the strange urge to apologize for his thoughts, as if they were shoes he had not cleaned perfectly. He let the feeling pass with a breath. "Welcome aboard, Envoy," he said. "If you would like a tour later, I'd be honored to show you the gardens. Our engineers made a small river there. It makes a sound like home." Home, she echoed inside his mind, and the word had the flavor of warm stone and sea wind. Yes, I would like that. They stood for another quiet minute. Then he excused himself and walked the deck once more. He did not look back, but he felt, in a strange and gentle way, that she was watching him go. The Horizon's main forum was a round hall with tiered seating, and a skylight that could tint to match different atmospheres. Today, it wore a pale gold tone that flattered almost every skin and scale. Delegates entered in small groups, attendants carrying tablets and translators, nutrition packs and notes from home. Humans wore simple formal suits. Others wore woven shells, sensor veils, or living garments that fluttered like leaves. Elias stood at the edge of the circle, greeting each arrival with the same calm warmth. He knew names. He knew how to say them correctly. He knew who preferred formal distance and who liked a friendly nod. He liked this part making space for new people, making them feel safe enough to be curious. When Alira entered, a hush rippled along the nearest row. She made no dramatic movement. She simply stepped in, and the light around her dimmed to a polite glow. The nearest delegates shifted as if an ocean had sent in a gentler tide. It was not fear. It was not even surprise. It was awareness, like the moment a room recognizes music. Elias felt it too. Not pressure. Not a push, more like the soft awareness of a clean wind passing through open windows. He inclined his head to her, and she nodded back. She took her seat with poise, hands folded lightly, eyes steady. The ceremony of intent began. A simple song flowed from the human choir, calm and open, and then a soft bell chimed as each envoy placed a hand, or a tendril, or a light aura on a shared pillar in the center. They spoke promises, careful words, about listening with patience, asking with kindness, and leaving space for silence. When it was Alira's turn, she did not stand. She simply allowed her light to reach forward. The pillar warmed and glowed where her radiance touched it, and a feeling passed through the room like quiet rain. Elias saw shoulders relax across 3 rows. After the ceremony, they moved into roundtable sessions. Discussion topics were gentle on purpose: food, water, art, and learning. More serious matters would wait until trust felt thicker. Elias stepped back to the room's edge, ready to help if needed. He watched, listened, and kept an eye on the door and on the small changes that sometimes warned of trouble. A raised voice, a restless movement, a whisper that felt like a wedge. The Valen envoy did not interrupt anyone. When addressed, she responded with care. When someone struggled to explain a feeling, she found a softer word for them, and they smiled. The room adjusted to her rhythm like feet finding a simple dance. Near the end of the session, a young researcher from the Kest Enclave asked a careful question. "Envoy Alira, is it true that your people can hear any thought in a room?" It was the kind of question that could make a room hold its breath. Some species found telepathy strange or too intimate. Elias watched Alira closely, not with worry, but with respect. She answered as if she were steadying a candle. "We hear what is offered. We also feel strong echoes when a thought is shaped with care and a clear emotion. It is like sound traveling through a string. If the string is soft and short, sound is quiet and close. If it is strong and tight, the sound carries. We do not pull on strings. We do not play without consent." The researcher lowered their head, relieved. "Thank you." Alira's light dimmed. Then, in a small instant, it brightened, again sharp but soft, like a breath caught in surprise. It was a flinch without fear. Her hand trembled once. Elias noticed. His eyes met hers across the forum. Something passed between them like a touch without touch, and then Alira's light steadied. A few heads turned, unsure if they had seen anything at all. The discussion continued, and the moment vanished like a ripple in a pond. He knew what he had been thinking in that exact second. He had been thinking about her. Not in a bold or unkind way, He had simply seen the gentle strength in her hands, the steady kindness in her mind, and he had wondered, very simply, what her home smelled like, what the sky felt like there, and whether she ever felt alone among so many who could not hear. It was a soft thought, and he had tried to shape it like a careful note so it would not trouble her. And yet she had gasped. When the session ended, delegates stood and stretched. Some drifted toward the snack alcoves, where peaceful foods waited on trays that did not sting, broth that warmed without weight, fruits that did not stain fingers. Elias moved with the tide but found his steps turning toward the far exit where Alira stood, speaking quietly with two aides. He waited until they finished, then approached with the same steady calm he always tried to carry. The horizon drifted through the calm dark, a quiet starship carrying hundreds of lives and 1,000 thoughts. Days after the first session, something unseen began to change between Captain Elias Ward and Envoy Alira of Vela Prime. It wasn't sudden, like a spark or storm. It was slow and quiet, like morning light spreading across frost. Neither of them understood it at first, but everyone around them felt that a soft new rhythm had entered the air. A strange morning on the third morning after their meeting in the garden, Elias woke before dawn cycle. The ship's artificial lights were still dim. He sat up rubbing his eyes when he felt a warmth behind his eyes. Not a headache, not pain, just a hum. It was faint but real. He thought it might be the ship's hum, echoing oddly in his skull. Then, just for a heartbeat, an image flashed in his mind. A white horizon under silver clouds, and someone standing in the wind with light in her hair. He froze. "Alira," he whispered, though there was no one else in the room. He waited for the image to fade. But instead, a soft emotion reached him, calm like a deep breath. Then silence. He sat still for a long time, not afraid, only amazed. The first connection Alira, the same time, was in her private quarters. Her room glowed faintly with her own light. She was meditating when she suddenly felt a whisper that wasn't her own. It came from far away, but it was familiar, strong, careful, human. It was him. She could sense his steady thought like a ripple through a calm lake. Her breath caught. She had not invited the connection. She had not opened her mind. It had simply happened. Her first thought was confusion, then wonder. Valens could link to one another, yes, but only through shared training, shared intent, telepathic connection across species. It was believed impossible. The human mind was said to be too noisy, too tangled with words and pictures. But somehow his mind had found her. She whispered to herself, "How can this be?" And from across the ship, a thought, soft, unformed, but clear, reached her. "Are you all right?" she gasped. Her light brightened, filling the room. She didn't answer with words. Instead, she let a wave of calm reach him, a reply made of feeling, not thought. Across the ship, in his quarters, Elias exhaled slowly. He didn't hear words, but he felt something gentle sweep through him like warm sunlight after rain. They were connected, shared, since he's over the next few days. Small signs appeared that the connection was real. When Elias entered the bridge one morning, he paused. His chest felt strangely tight, like the air was heavier. A minute later, he saw Alira arrive from the far corridor, looking pale, her light dim. She had felt sad that morning, missing her ocean home. He didn't know how he knew, he just did. Later that day, as he drank tea in the mess hall, a sudden taste of something sweet filled his mouth. He looked down. It was plain green tea. Yet in his mind came a picture of soft fruit dripping with golden juice. At that exact moment in her quarters, Alira was eating a Valen fruit from her supplies. Sometimes he felt warmth on his hands when she was happy. Other times, she sensed a shiver in her chest when he worried. Their emotions brushed together like colors mixing on a wet canvas. Elias kept these moments to himself at first. He didn't want to alarm the crew or the delegates. He only told one person, Dr. Karen Solas, the Horizon's chief scientist. The scientist Curiosity Dar? Solas was a calm, gray-haired woman with bright eyes and a voice that could sound like both a teacher and a friend. When Elias told her what was happening, She didn't laugh or frown. She simply asked gentle questions. How often does it happen? Do you sense words or only feelings? Does it occur when you are awake or also in dreams? He answered each as best as he could. Finally, she said, Captain, this may be the first recorded telepathic resonance between species. We should observe it carefully, without fear. But tell me, does it feel harmful to either of you? No, Elias said softly. It feels peaceful, like balance. She nodded. Then do not fear it. But be honest with her. If you both hide it, the energy may strain. Elias agreed. That evening, he requested a meeting with Alira, private, no audience. The confession they met in the quiet garden again. The water still whispered over smooth stones, and the air smelled faintly of mint. She stood near the small river, her reflection shimmering like liquid light. I thought you might come, Alira said in his mind, even before he spoke. You have questions. Yes, he admitted, and I think you do too. He sat down beside the water. Elias hesitated, then said, Something strange has been happening. I think we're connected, she finished. He blinked. You know, her eyes softened. I feel you sometimes. When you wake, when you walk, even when you drink that bitter human tea. He laughed softly, surprised. You tasted that? I did not mean to, she said gently. It came through like scent on a breeze. They were both quiet for a long while, listening to the soft river. Then Alira said, This kind of bond is rare even among my people. It is called mind resonance. But never in our history has it crossed species. Elias frowned. Does it endanger you? No, but it frightens the council. Our thoughts are sacred. To share them with another kind of being. It is something they would not understand. I can keep it secret, he offered, if that's what you want. Her eyes glowed brighter. No. Secrets grow like shadows. We must understand this together. You are not noise to me, Elias Ward. You are music loud, yes, but beautiful. Her words made him quiet. He wasn't sure how to respond. Instead, he said, I'll do whatever you think is right. Then stay near, she said softly. If our link grows, we must learn to guide it. The attack that night, while the ship slept, the horizon crossed the edge of an asteroid field. It was supposed to be clear space. Ow! But an ambush waited. Pirate vessels hiding behind the rocks at 0230 hours. Alarms blared through the halls. The crew rushed to stations. Elias ran from his quarters, already giving orders through the comlink. Shields to maximum. Evasive pattern deltanine. The horizon shook as plasma fire glanced off its side. In the control room, lights flashed red dot then, amid the noise and shouts. A clear voice sounded in Elias's head, not over the comlink, not through the air. Left side. Incoming from low bearing. He didn't think. He reacted, turning the ship before the tactical officer even saw the threat. The blast that would have hit their fuel tanks missed by meters. Good call, the officer shouted. How did you... But Elias didn't answer. He already knew. Alira. A shared battle on Deck 12. Alira stood barefoot in her room, her light fierce and steady. Through the psychic link, she could feel the danger. She could see through his eyes for brief flashes. When he barked orders, she heard the meaning, not the words. Her pulse matched his. She sent thoughts without plan. Pure instinct. Warnings, angles, glimpses. Every time she did, he acted as if they were one. Outside the ship, the pirates realized too late that their prey was responding faster than any normal vessel could. Every move they made was anticipated, so the horizon had a second sight. Within 15 minutes, the pirates fled, engines burning. Silence returned. Elias sat in the captain's chair, chest heaving. His officers stared at him. How did you see those shots, sir? One asked. He only said, a lucky feeling. But he knew the truth. And somewhere deep in the ship, Alira's light dimmed with exhaustion, understanding the bond the next day. Dr. Solas confirmed what Elias had already guessed. Captain, the ship's telepathic sensors registered spikes during the battle. You and Envoy Alira shared the same neural frequency pattern. You were linked. Elias rubbed his forehead. Can it be controlled? That depends on your emotional state. The more you trust, the clearer the channel becomes. Elias thought of her calm eyes, her quiet smile. Then it's strong. Dr. Solis smiled faintly. Then keep it steady. Others may not understand yet. But this bond might be the most remarkable event in interspecies history. Illyra's fear later that evening, Alira called him to her quarters. He found her sitting near the soft light pool, her glow faint and trembling. You risked yourself, she said in his mind. So did you, he replied aloud. Her gaze dropped. You do not understand. This bond is not meant to exist. My kind will sense it. They will come. They will ask questions. They may take me away, he frowned. For what? For helping. For breaking a sacred rule, she said quietly. We are taught never to merge with a species that thinks in words. They say the structure of thought could harm us. But it hasn't harmed me. It has. Changed me. Her light brightened slightly, like a candle rekindling. When you think of hope, I feel warmth. When you remember loss, I see rain. It is not noise. It is life. Elias stepped closer. Then they're wrong. She smiled sadly. Perhaps. But Vela Prime is built on harmony. And what we have, she gestured lightly between them. It frightens those who fear chaos. Shared memories, they spent the next few days studying the bond in secret. In a quiet lab under Dr. Solis's supervision, they tested focus and distance. When Alira was in the lab and Elias was on the far end of the ship, she could still sense his emotions faintly. When he thought of the color blue, she saw it in her mind. When she remembered her ocean world, he smelled salt in the air. Then, during one deep meditation, something even stronger happened. Alira guided him gently. Do not push. Let the thought open. The horizon drifted through deep space, its engines a soft hum against the silence of the void. Captain Elias Ward stood at the observation deck, staring out at a star field that stretched forever. The message had arrived hours ago from Vela Prime. Envoy Alira was to return home immediately for telepathic evaluation. The bond between them, precedented, delicate, and astonishing, was to be examined, possibly severed. Ilias's chest tightened as he read the message. He had known this day would come. Every shared thought, every whisper of emotion, every pulse of resonance, now had a deadline. The Council of Vela Prime could not understand the link as he did. Earth Command did not understand either. To them, it was a curiosity, a scientific anomaly. To Elias, it was life. A quiet decision, he moved to his quarters, pacing slowly. Every corner of the room seemed to echo the quiet rhythm of her presence, as though the bond had left a faint light behind. He recalled their first connection, the gasp in the forum, the circle of calm in the garden, the shared dream among the stars. He had never imagined a human could touch a mind like hers. He had never imagined the impact it would have on his own. His hand hovered over the communication panel. He could send a message, plead for delay, negotiate, but a quiet voice inside him told him this would not be enough. They would follow orders. They would insist. If the bond was strong, it would be tested. If it was severed, it could break them both. Ilias made a decision. He would go to her. He would not wait. The stars themselves seemed to stretch out ahead of him, a path for his choice. The rescue plan Ilias convened a small team in the tactical room. He trusted only a few people with this knowledge. Commander Lyra, his second-in-command. Dr. Solas, the chief scientist, and 2 experienced pilots. Together they studied the coordinates sent by Vela Prime, the planet's orbit. The security details, the transit paths, all of it. It's heavily monitored, Commander Lyra said. They have shields and patrols. If we try to land without permission, it could be considered an act of aggression. Elias nodded. I know, but if we wait for permission, she might be gone in the bond. We might lose it forever. I won't risk that. We go carefully. We go fast. Dr. Solis looked uneasy. Captain, this is unprecedented. If anything happens, I won't let anything happen, he interrupted softly. She's more than a mission, Solus. She's essential. To me, and to what we've discovered. Lyra shook her head but gave a slight nod. Then let's plan carefully. Precision, calm, every move silent. They worked through the ship's maps, the alien defenses, and sensor blind spots. By the end of the planning session, every detail had been considered. The Horizon would approach Vela Prime's orbit under a cover of sensor fog, and Elias would lead a small shuttle to the planet's surface. The journeyers. The Horizon approached the orbit of Vela Prime. Elias felt the familiar hum of her presence. It was faint, almost a whisper, but unmistakable. Alira. The thought reached her instantly. In her quarters, she froze mid-step, sensing him. A wave of calm and shock passed through her. The council had already begun evaluating her. Instruments pulsed around her as monitors scanned her mind for the resonance. She felt exposed, vulnerable. Yet at the edge of her awareness there was a faint, steady pull. Him. Elias focused on that pull, the connection that had started as curiosity, then admiration, then deep care. He let it guide his hand, his senses, and his decisions. The shuttle detached from the Horizon, its small engines carrying it silently toward the planet's surface. The landing the surface of Vela Prime was a swirl of color, soft and alien. The skies glowed faintly with 3 suns, reflecting off oceans that shimmered like liquid crystal. Mountains of translucent stone rose in gentle curves. It was breathtaking, yet Elise's mind did not take in the beauty fully. His focus was on Huron, the light of her mind, and the sound of her fear. When he landed near the council compound, he felt the intense strain of the bond. Illyra's thoughts were sharp with tension, but beneath the fear, he sensed her calm determination. She had always been cautious, but now she needed him. He exited the shuttle, moving swiftly and silently through the alien terrain. Every step was measured. Every breath was quiet. The connection between them pulsed stronger as he drew near. The council's challenge Illyra had been moved to a secure chamber. The Valen Council surrounded her, a circle of radiant beings, eyes like bright gems. Their attention was focused entirely on her, not the room around. Instruments scanned for resonance, recording the bond between human and Valen. Envoy Illyra, the council leader said, voice calm and precise. Your human companion has crossed boundaries that are not allowed. This resonance is dangerous. Explain yourself. She held her light steady, yet Elias could feel the flicker of unease. Don't harm yourself to protect me, he thought, reaching for her through the mind link. She felt him immediately, the calm beneath his fear. I did not choose to link it, she responded softly. It happened naturally, but the bond is peaceful, mutual, and stable. The council exchanged silent pulses of thought. Their language was layered, precise, and formal. Elias felt it like a wall, but the wall had cracks. You claim peace, the leader said, yet it is untested. Any human thought could overwhelm your mind. This bond could break you both. Elias stepped into the chamber, unnoticed until the last moment. His calm presence radiated outward, and the council sensed the human mind intertwined with hers. You came, Illyra thought. Relief mixed with surprise. I promised, he replied. Steady and clear. The rescue before the council could react. Elias reached out through the bond. His thoughts, careful, steady, and protective. He guided her attention toward the exit he had memorized during planning. Instruments beeped warnings, but he blocked them with mental focus. The resonance pulsed, a bridge of trust between human and alien. Together, they moved, silently navigating corridors and guard patterns. Illyra's light guided them like a soft lantern. The bond allowed them to sense each other's positions without words, without sound, without alerting anyone. When they reached the hangar, the shuttle waited. Elias kept the engines idle while she helped disable the security pulse that could have tracked them. Each thought they exchanged was calm, precise, and intentional. Their minds were synchronized, stronger than either had imagined. The escape, they lifted off quietly. the planetary surface shrinking beneath them. Alarms sounded behind and lights flashed, but they were already in orbit. Elias focused on the horizon's location, and the shuttle responded instantly, as if it had a mind of its own. Alira reached out to him through the link, her thoughts a mixture of awe and relief. "I never imagined I could feel this safe. You are never alone," he replied. "Not while I am here." The resonance between them strengthened, a pulse that no instrument could measure. It was not dangerous. It was alive. Returned to the horizon, back on the horizon, the crew watched in awe as the shuttle docked. The bond between Elias and Alira had grown visible. Faint pulses of light that moved between them like ripples in water. Dr. Salas and Commander Alira approached. Questions on their faces, but they said nothing. Words could not capture the depth of what had happened. Alira looked at him, her light soft, her form relaxed. "You risked everything," she said gently, inside his mind. "I would do it again," he replied. They both laughed softly, a quiet sound that did not need to echo. The bond hummed around them, a bridge of trust, respect, and care that no counsel, no command could break. The aftermath days later. The horizon resumed its path through the stars. Reports went to Earth Command and Vela Prime. Officially, the mission was a success. The bond was documented, and the situation was stable. Unofficially, the resonance had changed the lives of two individuals, and perhaps the galaxy itself. Alira and Elias spent quiet hours together, meditating, walking the decks, exploring the gardens. Each shared thought, each gentle pulse of emotion, was a lesson in understanding, patience, and care. They were no longer alone in the universe. The stars themselves seemed to listen. Their connection was more than a bond. It was proof that minds of different worlds could meet, share, and grow. It was proof that trust, patience, and intention could build bridges even across species. Even across the vastness of space. A moment of light one evening. Elias and Alira stood at the observation deck, watching a distant nebula bloom like a flower in the void. He reached for her mind, shaping a thought, circle calm and open. She received it instantly, her light pulsing in response. "I will always hear you." She whispered inside his mind, "And I will always find you," he replied. The stars stretched endlessly. But for the first time, the universe felt small, safe, and alive with connection. Their bond hummed softly, like a shared heartbeat across the void, a promise whispered in thought. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The horizon sailed onward, a silver thread in the dark, carrying hope, courage, and the extraordinary resonance of two minds bound across the stars, and somewhere in the quiet hum of the ship, across the spaces between thoughts, one truth echoed clearly: they had changed each other forever.